Today we're talking bump dots, tactile markers, and secret uses for everyday things.
Big bold text appears and reads, Sightless Living. Copyright symbol 2021-2025. Sightless Living. All rights reserved. Then disappears.
Hello. Welcome to the channel. This is Sightless Living. My name's Anita. Let's get started. I've been asked, how did I get started with blindness? And boy, that's a long story, but I'll keep it short. First, I started out with listening to everyone. Now, people will tell you all different kinds of things. And now what I am left with is, why do people always tell you the wrong things? That drives me nuts, but I'm not telling you what to do. This is just how I started. You could take it or leave it. It's up to you. The first thing I did was get locator dots because I can type and I know where my hands go on the keyboard, but sometimes you need reassurances. The keyboard naturally has little points for your index fingers to rest on the keyboard. Sometimes they can be felt, sometimes they cannot be felt, but not being able to see, a lot of things are exaggerated. The first thing I wanted were some locator dots to put on my keyboard. I started out with small dots. And then when I got there, oh, you should get all kinds of dots, said the salesman. My first purchase was bump dots. So I got some different sizes. Some I have run out of and repurchased. This is a little bump dot. It's got a little profile, not too small, not too high. And then you have some others that are much bigger. And I keep them in baggies, even though they come in their own bags. When you start buying bump dots, you'll notice they're small and they just slip right out of there. So I like to keep them inside a baggie, because once they fall and you can't see them, they're going to get vacuumed up. I'm just flipping through different sizes. This feels like the package is empty, this one here. It just feels like a minute pimple. So you can get bump dots in all types of sizes and profiles and colors and shapes. It's just endless. Then I have some of these little felt markers. And these come in all different colors, green, black, and they're little fuzzy dots. So I would call this a bump dot because it's raised a little, because it's fuzzy. And with these, I used to put them on my chargers, because some chargers can go either way. You can flip them, it doesn't matter, it works. And some don't. I would put these on the correct side, which would be facing me. So when I plug it into whatever device it belonged to, I made sure the bump dot was facing me, so I knew I was putting it in the pins correctly. So this comes in handy for that. You can basically stick these anywhere. I'm not going to go through each one. I'm just trying to show that there are a lot of different bump dots that you can get. You can put them on a lot of things. You can put them on a stovetop for the dials, not where the heat comes, but for your knobs or push buttons, whatever you use the most, you can mark them. You can do a refrigerator temperature dial, which is inside the fridge. You can put it on your favorite settings there. You can put it on your dishwasher. You could put it on security panels. Sometimes you may just want to put that dot on that 5 that is not always pronounced. You can put them on the number 5 key. Now, all number 5 keys usually have a little dot or something on it, but sometimes it's not that pronounced. So people like to add a locator dot or even a bigger dot so you can feel it. And even for calculators, you use your 3 fingers. So your middle finger is supposed to rest on the 5 key. And this way you can just be typing your numbers without looking. I used to be proficient with that, but I haven't done calculator work in a long time, so I probably lost my speed. But once you get back into it, you can pick it up. But that's also great for the bump dots. Some people even have it on their garage where you put your code in to open the garage door without a remote. And I believe that key, it barely has a little pimple on the number 5 key. So you would most definitely want to put a bump dot on that. And there are door locks that have panels that are flat, and you can put bump dots on that. There are tons of uses. Then, let's see, I'm feeling through. Here's a bigger sheet of, I would call these tactile markings, because there's not many left. There's some on here, but they're clear letters, feels like vinyl, that you can stick on your keyboard, and it has the Braille. If you know Braille, you can easily put these on your key and know what letters you are touching. And they come in different sizes as well. Here's a smaller one. And these have embossed letters where you can read them that way, or you can read the Braille. Now, if you don't know Braille, that's okay too, because you can just use the regular bump dots to mark your keys or knobs, dials, whatever you need to mark. Then, if you want to be playful with your bump dots, you can buy sets like this. These are foam. They're very lightweight, and they're little dots. This one has not been used. They come in all different kinds of colors: green, yellow, pink, blue, black, brown, whatever. And there's some which are missing. For those who can see, there's a little hole in the card. It's about a 1/4 inch thickness. I'm holding it horizontally so you can see it, those of you who can see. But it's just a square sheet of dots which seemed like they were machine punched. They work great in the summer, but in the winter time they may need a little help, like a little dab of glue or something. It depends on the surface. That's what I found with these. But they last a long time because you get so many of them. But they give you a higher profile. So I don't know if you would want that. But that's just another option. And then when you go to the doctor, you can get this option as a bump dot. These here are EKG tabs. It's kind of cushiony. These are the ones they stick on your legs and arms when you go for your physical. But it's kind of foamy, and then it has the stick on the back. I didn't peel that because I'll wait till I use this. But this is a great option for a bump dot as well. I use these on electronics like remotes. And what you can do is cut it so it sticks right on the button that you want. Usually it's the on-off switch. And then it has this metal clip. Looks like a snap. And that's where they put your leads on to get the reading of your heart rate or whatever. So these are very handy. And I noticed that when you go to get those every year, they just throw them out. They'll take out whatever they need out of the package, which comes in a sterile kind of envelope like I have here. And they'll take them out, whatever they need, and then they'll just throw the pack out. And I'm like, wow, I'll take those. Don't throw them out, because I stuck them on remotes. So that's a good option. And if you ever stay in the hospital, they do use these on the remote. So blind people can turn the TV on and off. You can stick them on anything, channel, button, whatever you need to stick them on. So I like to use these for remotes. And let me give you an example. I have my Victorita stream here. I'm gonna take my plastic cover that goes to this container and I'm gonna sit it on its side. This does not have any bump dots. It's very smooth. It's plastic. And I'm gonna show you what happens. So I'm gonna tilt the lid up in the air and I'm gonna put my Victorita there and watch it. See, it just slides down. And that's what was happening at night. You're listening to a book, you have your cords in there, and if you turn or whatever, you can just knock your unit on the floor. So to avoid that, I stuck bump dots on the bottom as feet. And here we go. So I got 4 bump dots, trying to get each corner, you know, the way the thing is built. And then I just hold the top up again, stick my unit on it, and look what happens. No sliding. I can even push on it. Nothing. So I also use that for bump dots. I use the bump dots for feet to keep it from marring or damaging the furniture or even damaging the unit. Then over here on this timer, I put bump dots. And these are the little bump dots, the foamy ones that I showed you. And I put them at every quarter. And this is just a simple timer to wind up. And you can hear it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set it off. So there are a lot of uses you can do with these. The possibilities are endless.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Now we are going to talk about tape. I think all of the items I'm going to show you can be used as secret uses for everyday things because they're ordinary. You don't have to go out and break the bank trying to buy different things because now you're blind and you think, oh, I gotta buy all this stuff, which is what I was led to think. First of all, you're gonna need a stylus and a slate. Now this is a labeling slate, which you will have to buy, but you can get a 4-line slate and stylus by watching the video on the Sightless Living channel. There are some types of equipment you need, which you can get for free. Check out the different videos on the channel. You can get a cane, you can get a Braille if you live in a particular area. You can get equipment if you're deaf, blind, all different kinds of things. You can always look so you'll be in the know. Now for the tape, you can use regular standard Scotch tape, or you can use Braille tape. Braille tape is a little thicker than Scotch tape, but once it gets on the item, it's got a higher profile than the regular Scotch tape. But if you can't read Braille, not to worry, you can still use tape. Like this is hair shampoo and conditioner. Both bottles look identical because I can't read them. They're probably not because they probably say different things. But since I wouldn't be able to differentiate between the two, you can just leave one without tape and you can put tape on another, or you can put a rubber band around it. I like Braille because you can just read it. After a while, doing the same thing for everything gets a little confusing. It gets a little tired because you're like, did I put this tape on the conditioner or did I put it on the shampoo? What did I do? What I started doing As a young newbie, meaning maybe a week old in the blindness, I started using rubber bands because the letter C in Braille for conditioner is dots 1 and 4, which makes a straight line across. I figured, okay, I'll use that with the rubber band. On everything that's a conditioner, I'll put a rubber band around the bottle so I know that is the conditioner to that set. I like to make shampoo or hair product cocktails, which means you're not sticking to the same product week after week after week. I like to group them together with a rubber band, but I have what they are in Braille. I know I don't even have to read the Braille because this is the conditioner. It has my rubber band in the C form. That's what I call it because it's straight across. And the letter C in Braille is dots 1 and 4, making it a straight line across over the two cells. I get the clear tape in Braille so it doesn't disturb my sighted family members. They can just read what they have to read, and I can read what I need to read because I can read the Braille. Now, some family members are learning Braille, so they can read it too. I have some Braille that I have made to go on other things, which is what I do. I usually make the Braille when I'm sitting down and have some time, and then I'll rubber band it together, throw it back in my bag, and when I have time to go get the items and put it on there, then I'll do that. And what I do afterwards, I make a tail, which is a blank piece of tape on both sides. Then I can stick it on the product, and then I come along and take some Scotch tape and put it at the end so I don't have to worry about my Braille coming off. Now these guys here, these bottles, shampoo and conditioner, I bring these right in the shower. Water runs on them, all kinds of things. My tape doesn't come off because I secure it with a piece of Scotch tape at the top and bottom. That's a little tip for other Braille users. Just leave a little tail on the end. I leave maybe a finger's width, and then I'll cut it off. And then I can put the tape horizontally across the vertical piece. These are vertical, and then I put the tape across horizontally. Now, if I put them horizontally across the bottle, I'll put the tape vertically. And that keeps my Braille on the bottles, whether they get wet or not. This is the clear. And after you put it through your slate, and that's why I like the labeling slate, which is just a 1-line 25 cell slate. And I also show that on the channel in a different video telling you how to get your free slate and stylus. And that's it opened up. It has the windows on one side, and then it has the dots on the other. It's hinged in the center. But that's how I make my Braille for all my products. I highly recommend a labeling slate for anyone who likes to label their products with Braille. And you can get these tapes in any kind of color. So if you like pink or purple or black or whatever, you can get that, long as you're not going to block anybody else from reading what the item is. If it's your item, you should be good to go. But if it's a household item, like shampoo, body wash, or something that hangs out in the bathroom for everyone to use, I would be more considerate than using colored tape and blocking the little words on the bottle that some people actually do read. So you can take the tape and you can cut it off. You can stick it on. I'm just showing a sample here for those who don't know how to use tape, and don't laugh because some people don't know how to use tape. But you can take a piece of tape, stick it on the edge. You can double it under and have like a little tab hanging off. You can do all kinds of things with the tape. You can pop the lid off and put it inside on the inside So if they like to do extra work, they can just pop it off. Oh, the tape's in here. This is the conditioner. And then pop this one. Oh, no tape. This is the shampoo. Whatever situation you want to come up with, that's fine. Long as you remember what it is. Like I said, if you don't keep it the same on all different kinds of products, then it's going to get confusing. Because if you're doing rubber bands for conditioner this month, and then next month you're doing it on the shampoo, then after a while you're going to say, which is this? Is this the shampoo or is this the conditioner? You don't want to confuse yourself like that. When you come up with something for one, stick to it for everything. You could have 30 different shampoos, 15 different conditioners. Just make sure you label them all the same way. You want to use rubber bands, make sure all the products of the same type have the rubber band. In this way, you won't get confused. When I first started, they would give me all different kinds of tips and tricks which were not working for me. But you can end up with soap and you're putting lotion. You're thinking it's lotion and it's soap. And you put it all over your skin and stuff. Then you go outside and maybe you're in the sun and you start itching and your skin feels tight. Yeah, because you put a bunch of soap on it. And then when you go jump in the shower, there's suds everywhere because you got over soaked. It's very important to remember what you are doing when you're labeling your items so you keep it the same and don't run into that kind of drama. Another thing you could do with your tape is use it in the same way you would use bump dots. This way you don't have to run out and buy them right away, especially if you don't have the funds for it. You can just take a piece of tape and put it on buttons, maybe on a blender, on the microwave, touch pad. You could put it on the pizza, the popcorn, you know, the quick set buttons. Or you can put it on coffee makers. I've done that in hotels. And you just put it on like start, maybe brew. Sometimes you can start it, but it doesn't brew. You have to click a different button, or maybe you want to set the coffee from the tea. Depending on the item, you can use basic Scotch tape. Now I'm going to show you some common everyday things. And this is where I started rethinking what people were telling me. I was told you can use paper clips for your clothing. I have large paper clips in different colors with the plastic coating, and I have small paper clips. Now, I didn't follow through with what they were saying, use it on your clothing. But I do have an office, and I use paper clips in the office. So I was like, well, that's a good deal. But I see what they were trying to do. They're trying to save money because you can get a whole bunch of paper clips for less money than you would pay for the recommended item, which is a binder clip here. You flip the wings up, you squeeze them together, and you take the clip off. I'll lay it here so the camera can zoom in on it. The binder clip here, this is the smallest one. The rest of mine are packed, but they come in all different sizes. They come in huge sizes, and you tell by the spine here the size. So this is the small size. Then there's a bigger size and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. These are very expensive, so I don't know why they would recommend this. And what I do is if I have to sit there and sort mail on my phone, nobody wants to like say, okay, this is the water company. All right, this is a bill from the electric company. Oh, this is a bill from cable. Oh, this is a letter from my grandma. They don't want to do that and then group them all together and then scan them again to put them away or handle them. When you scan things with whatever app you want to use, You don't want to just group them all together again, and you certainly can't write on it, electric company, water bill, blah, 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 because you can't read it. That's what I like using binder clips for. I would never think of using a binder clip for clothing or paper clips, whether they're coated or not. They have sharp edges, like right here. That's going to rip your clothes, and you'll kill your wardrobe quicker using these everyday things. I used to think, why do they always recommend things that you shouldn't use to blind people? Is it a joke or what? You know, I did run into somebody, they actually use the clips and they put it on everything that goes in the item. Like if I have a skirt, I'm going to stick this on the skirt. If I have a shirt, I'm going to stick one of these paper clips on the shirt. If I have stockings, I'm going to stick that on the stockings. Now, that's a no-no right there. Oh, if I have a hair bow, I'm going to stick that on it. I'm going to clip them all together. Now, granted, you can take the paper clip and fold it different ways. I've just spread this apart, and now it looks like a giant S. But who wants to do that? It never goes back to shape, so you just ruined the paper clip. That's one thing. Then the next thing is the clothing. I always say clothing is an investment. I mean, look at them. It's ridiculous. $99 one shirt. Maybe $100 one shirt. Maybe a dress under $100. But the stuff has gone up. So why would you want to come and take a paper clip to be assembling your clothes? I always say use safety pins. That's what I have here. I have a container. I've taken my safety pins and I've broken them up. I have a small, a medium, and a large. That's large. I keep the large and medium together, and I rest the small on its side. It's time to refill again. The machines just eat the pins alive, but that's how I sort mine. And I recommend that for anybody who cares about their clothing. Now, for some, that could be great. Like there's a young man, he uses paper clips on his tie. Once he figures out where he wants to have it, where it's hanging long enough, he'll put a pin on it. Some women, they'll put paper clips on their scarves, even to wear them. They'll decorate them. I'm playing with my scarf here. They'll decorate it with different folds and knots and clip them with a paper clip. That is dangerous because you'll rip your clothing. But if that's what they choose to do, then they can choose that. Another thing I like to use for my paper clips are in the office. I have some office files here. I'll just take them off my clipboard. I have Braille's in my entire office. Stuff that I have to pay and file every month, I'll take a giant paper clip and I'll stick it on the folder. I can stick it in the front on the pocket because I use pockets. I can stick it on the back where it's a little higher up, so as I'm filing through all the files in the drawer, I see the ones that have paper clips. So I know, okay, that's one of my files, and this is my shortcut or laziness of not reading the Braille. You can put a paper clip on all of your files that you handle. You take your paper clip and you can stick it on the left or right, wherever your file through. I like to do my labels on my left-hand side. So I would stick the clip here. So if I want to read all the files and spend 3 days, then I can do that. But if I want to just get to my files that I do every month quickly, then I'll just leave the paper clip sitting on the folder. I usually put it on the back. And then I know that's mine. I don't even bother reading it. I'll just go to the file. Okay, I know it's 6 files after the tab. I just go look for it, and there it is. And then to verify, I'll read the Braille, and that's what I'm looking for, and voila, My filing's done. It's that simple. That's what I do with the paper clips. I will not put them on clothing. But for some, it may work. For me, it would not work. Now the rubber bands, those are good. You can use that. Some people wrap their money with them. I used to do that as well. But that's for straight bills. What do you do when you have change? I use envelopes. I keep a bunch of envelopes when people send them to you and you're doing your bill or whatever electronically. I'll take the envelope out of the bill and keep it. And this way I don't have to buy envelopes, and I'm recycling. I like to recycle. Then if I have to pay a bill, you just put the money in that. Watch out for the open windows, but you can put the money in there and you can put your change in there and you can seal it. You can roll it up. You can do whatever. So you really don't need the rubber band, but you can put it in there to keep it rolled up if you want or whatever. So there are many uses for the rubber band. Here's my bottle again, which I just showed you in my last section. You just take your rubber bands. You can group same items together. Even though I have the rubber band on the conditioner, I still can group the sets together. Then here's another set. This one has 4 bottles, all looking the same to me. Now they could be different colors, they could have different prints, but they're all together, they all smell the same. They have the same ingredients to me because they smell the same. I can just group them together, and even this set has a rubber band around the conditioner. I like to keep them together. So 2 different hair product sets, but I kept the conditioners with the rubber band going around them. Even though I have all the Braille on every bottle, tell me what each item is, I still put a rubber band on the conditioner. This way, if I'm going to a hotel or something, I can just grab my own products. I don't have to use the stuff that the hotel gives you. And I know I have my shampoo and conditioner. And some of them are that good where I can shake it and know what the product is. The shampoo's gonna be a little looser and watery, and the conditioner's gonna be a little heavier and creamy. And that's what I noticed with a bunch of the products. I can label them without even checking, but I do still check because you can always be wrong. And that would be a horrible mistake to put the conditioner in and think you're getting shampoo and then rinse that out and leave the soap in your hair. So I always check when I do guesstimates like that. But sometimes it's fun to guess and check yourself. And so far I haven't been wrong, knock on wood. When you first become blind, I had a lot of people telling me stuff like that. Oh, use paper clips. You don't have to buy anything, blah, blah, blah. Use binder clips for thicker fabrics, which are these. Now, the binder clips are metal. So I don't know about that one. You can rust and rip at the same time. Rust and rip. That's some food for thought. I say stick with pins, safety pins. And that's what I used when I first became blind. And I make different sequences, which is why I bought the large, small, and medium. And I bought the brass one. So if anything comes out in the wash or someone sees a pin, they know it's mine and it comes right back to me. And when you do your sequences, because I know I'll get asked about it, you got to make them where they're all the same for each outfit that you wear. Like for instance, I have on this turquoise looking wear because we got like tons of snow outside. It's snowing right now. If I haven't used the sequence already, that's another thing you got to pay attention to is what sequences you are using before you put your clothes in the laundry. Let's say I use 2 little pins here, 2 small ones. Maybe I stick them side by side. Maybe I stick them in a X pattern. or whatever. What I do, stick it in there. I find out where the label is. The label is usually on your left side in the seam. Sometimes it's on the right side, but I always look for it on the left. And then I pin on that label. If you start putting pins in your clothes, eventually they will rip. And I will show you one coming up. When we get to that section, I'll show you it. So I would put the 2 pins on the top, 2 pins on the bottom. And this way, I don't even have to check my color identifier. I know when it comes out the wash, these 2 pieces go together. So that's how you can pin your clothes. You can do maybe a small pin and a medium pin. If you're gonna do that, make sure you put on all pieces. So let's say you have a skirt and a shirt and a scarf. You will want to put a medium pin and a small pin on all 3 items. Same thing with the large. You may want 2 large pins, but that's what I do. I keep track of it. You can put it in your phone if you do laundry once a week. Some people do laundry twice a week. Whatever you do, you can make a list so you know your pin sequence and you don't repeat it. Now, I've done traveling and doubled up on some of that stuff. It was a nightmare putting it back together. That's one thing you want to pay attention to, but it sure beats paper clips. Especially, I would never put a paper clip on a silk scarf. It's just dangerous. You just rip up your things. Rubber bands are great because you can use them on anything. You can attach tags to them and put them on items. You can attach similar items together. You can group everything. Like I could take this paper clip, the large paper clips, and the smaller paper clips. They're in their own separate baggie. I can put them together, roll them, and then put a rubber band on both of them. Now I know when I pull one bag of paper clips, I'm gonna get them both. So you could do it that way. You could take your rubber bands. Usually when I open my rubber bands, I'll open them at the top or a corner or something. I'm just taking any old rubber band. Then I'll roll it down and I will put a rubber band on the bag like that. And then I put the rubber bands where they go. I'll put them in the container they go in, and everybody's all bagged up. So rubber bands are great. Paper clips are great too, because my method of cheating in the office file drawers comes in handy. Especially when you don't have much time and you're like, well, I can file half this inbox real quick because I have a little system there. And my spouse doesn't bother my paper clips. I can just go in there, find them. They're usually in the spot where they're supposed to be. And that's all I do. I can go to a tab. Oh, I know my file is 3 files in. Just look for the paper clip. There it is. So that makes it easy. But you have to be able to read Braille so you can double check yourself. And like I mentioned, my products here, I keep similar things together with rubber bands. Then in the freezer, I have tags that I put in the hole of the rubber band. Let's see. I'll just take this rubber band right here off my 4 bottles that are grouped together. But you can take a rubber band. I'll make believe my finger is the little card with a hole in it, and I just take the rubber band, fold it around that, and then I pull one edge through, so now it's hooked on my finger, and the card would be hanging on this. That's what I do in the hole that's on the card, wrap it in there. Then I just take the rubber band, I use a big one of course, this is small, fit it over my item, which is frozen. Then I record on my item. You'll find that in the channel. It's the Voxcom video. You don't only have to group your rubber bands around bottles, you can put them around the necks of bottles. I know someone who puts rubber bands on their wine bottles so they know which is their favorite. There are people that put rubber bands around a can of beer if that's their favorite. There are all kinds of uses for rubber bands. And I use a lot of rubber bands for my Voxcom tags. I record on them, and you'll find a lot of those in my closet hanging on hangers. While we are discussing clothing and paper clips, depending on what my events are, maybe I have a meeting, maybe I don't, maybe I'm going to a special gathering, maybe my outfit will have a scarf, maybe it won't. I like to buy the specialty hangers. This is a flat felt hanger, therefore your clothes will not slip off. It has a specialty spot for scarves, ties, belts, whatever. And these hook on to one another so you can make them as thin or as heavy duty as you would like. This is the first generation of these hangers. I've had them a long time since they've come out. I'll set that to the side. And as an example, these are the newer, stiffer hangers, and I just sit the two together. But it's the same concept, only these don't hook together. This hanger has a scarf on it, and I just put it on. And then I can put my clothes to keep them assembled. If I'm going to pack and not take a hanger, I can take the scarf, lay it flat, fold my clothes up, put it in the center, and then take the scarf and just roll it around so the scarf holds all my clothes in that little packet together. You can do it like that. Same thing with a tie for a man. I got a tie here on the hanger. And I do wear ties from time to time, but mine are packed. I would just put the tie in the same spot as I have the scarf. I put it on the hanger two separate ways so you can see how it goes, for those who can see. I have it going through the special area up at the top of the hanger to hang this scarf through. And then I could have it draped down in the front or the back. But see what happens? Sometimes it gets uneven, so the scarf can fall off on the floor in your closet. You're blind, you can't see it, and you leave it behind. Same thing with a man's tie, or your tie if you wear them. You can hang them straight and they can fall off. So what I like to do with my ties, I even it out on the hanger, and then I run both sides on one side of the hanger. This way it frees up the bottom for slacks, but it could slide. So what I like to do is lift it off the hanger and pull it forward or backwards, whichever way, to make it even. And then I'll take the back and stick it through the tag in the tie. The same way when we tie our ties, we stick it in there. And that will hold it together because it will keep it from falling off. So that's how I do my ties. And I like to buy ties that my spouse can borrow. So I can borrow some of his. And I only wear ties to very important meetings, and you should see the results you get as a woman coming in with a tie. I feel, hey, I did the work, I might as well go there so I can reap the benefits. If I have to run the projector or whatever, then I'm going to dress for the meeting just like the guys do. And that's what I've done. And of course, people have to copy. They didn't even get the concept. People started coming in with a dress and a tie. It looked ridiculous. But anyway, so that's how you can do that. If you're a man, you can bring your tie. And when you are going on a business meeting, you can just lay your tie out flat, have your clothes in the center, and you can roll it around. Me personally, if I'm not going to leave my tie hanging on the hanger, I like to roll them up like you find them in the stores. I would not wrap it in a rectangle because you can get wrinkles, and then you don't have your steamer to get the wrinkles out. So you may look like you slept in your tie. That is another thing to keep in mind when traveling. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, if I'm not wearing a scarf or a tie, you may want to take your jeans or your slacks and lay them out. Then you fold your shirt in the middle, and you can put your socks in there, your underwear in there, whatever you're wearing with that ensemble. And then you can roll your slacks up, and guess what? Everything else is in the center. So now you have a nice little packet, and you can put that in your luggage. And when I pack for anyone, that's how I usually do the clothes. So I know I haven't forgotten anything. And they can come along, and I'll keep them out on a table, and they can look and make sure they have everything they want for this outfit, that outfit, those outfits, whatever. You just get everything grouped together. You're going for 3 days, then you want to have 4. So you can have one for each day and then one for leaving. And then they can just check it out, make sure they have the right socks, make sure they have this, make sure they have that. And I've had outfits switched out on me many times, but that makes it easier than tearing up the luggage. Oh, I don't want that, I want this, blah, 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 blah. You can get away from that by just having everything laid out. Let them check it, and I say, look, I'm doing the final pack. Once I pack it, that's it. It's locked in. I'm not tearing up the luggage. It makes it easier. It just works out fine. And it beats paper clips and things like that. And if you do want to pack a garment bag, then you can use your special hangers. My next item, plastic bags. I think I may use these in almost every video. This is the best thing for organization. It can work for just about anything. I get these bags that are Ziploc, where the zipper just slides across. I even get the ones that you can press together. They don't last as long as the ones that you can slide. But you get what works for you. I use this size for my makeup. And this way I can have lights and darks. Let's say brown, for instance. I can have light brown, tan, or dark brown in its own baggie inside the brown container. So they work very well. I can put chargers in there when I'm traveling. I could keep styluses in there, cards. Sometimes when I go shopping, I'll keep the cards in a baggie with the tool that's going to record. And then when I need it, I'll just walk around and record what I want and stick the card on the hanger. And then when I ring it up, I'll just, lock it in so it doesn't fall off in the bag. Baggies can come in handy for just about anything. If you've noticed in my Braille bricks, Tactiles, I separated the letters using baggies. In my cane videos, I keep my cane tips in baggies to separate them. I have several canes that go with different colors. I have those in a baggie. When I bring my yak tracks out in the wintertime, I keep a baggie in my pocket so I can go in the bathroom, rinse them out, and stick them in the baggie. They just have so many uses. And like I said, since I'm not putting food in them, I can rinse them out or wash them and keep using them till they rip open, which is usually what I do. I use them till they fall apart. The next item is sock sorters. You can decide if you like them or you hate them. I have some round ones here. I think they're quite small. And I have a square one here. Now hold them both up. The square one is much larger than the round one. These are plastic, and they have little triangles, like 4 that go in the center. To kind of hold your socks in there. They don't work on nylons. Even nylon socks, they'll rip them up. So I'll give you that little bit of feedback. Now I have an athletic sock here. And I'm going to use this athletic sock as a demonstration. What I rather do is take my sock and pin it. What I used to do at the beginning of my blindness is I would pin it up at the top. Because you figure, hey, well, I don't want to restrict the toe box area, so I'll just pin it up top here, which is what I used to do. Then what started happening is, let me see if I can find it. You get a little hole. Hello! I'm sticking my finger through the hole. Hello! It's waving to you. Hello! That's what happens when you pin it. I guess when it's agitating with the other clothes, it can get kind of pulled on or whatever. That's what happens there. Then I said, okay, I'll have to pin it down in the toe box area. Line up the sock, and I find a little area in the toe box area. I take my little safety pin and I pin it. And this is the method I still use today. I pin it and throw it in the wash. And it's stuck together, and I leave it in the wash. And then when it goes in the washing machine, it's still pinned. When it comes out of the dryer, it's still pinned. When it's all nice and dry, and I'm putting away the laundry, I have the sock in my left hand. This is the one I'm going to wrap the other sock with. I turned it inside out as I fed it over my hand. Now it's over my fingers. I have my thumb free. I take the other sock, which is in my right hand, and I take the toe box area, which is the part that covers your toes, and I stick it in the middle of the sock that's in my left hand. I grab it with my fingers. Now my right hand's free again, and I take the edge of the sock that's covering my left hand and turn it right side out, because it's inside out as you feed it over, and I just pull it over the sock that it's holding, and voila, I have one sock inside the other sock. And that's how I keep my laundry together. I don't keep them pinned in my drawer and stuff like that, because if you have 50 socks, you're going to need at least 200 pins. So that's how I recycle my socks, and I still use that method to this day. If you have a bunch of colored socks, you can get a garment bag like this one. This is a white mesh bag that zips. And you can put your socks in here and throw them in the laundry. And then they can stay here because you can just throw them in the dryer. I don't dry my socks. I like my colored socks, my dress socks. I like to put them on a drying rack and let them air dry. I do not like to put them in the dryer. They get messed up. Even when I'm traveling, definitely not. But even at home, I can put them on the lowest setting, and they can shrink or the elastic gets funny. So I just don't like to put them in there. My athletic socks, I don't care with those. They go in the bleach, they go everywhere. And they could be different colors too, and I still throw them in the bleach. So you can choose those options. You can either pin them, throw them in a mesh bag and wash them that way. And let me show you the downfalls or pitfalls of these sock sorters. I told you about my nylons, which are thin socks, and they have like decorative lines in them, and I think they make them for men too. Let's take this sample out with the hole. I pull them out of each other. I have them put together, and I have this little circle sock sorter. So I'm going to try to squeeze them in there, which they do squeeze, but they're very difficult. Okay, so now I want to pull it. You want to pull it far enough so it can wash properly. So I like to pull it down past the ankle so the toe box area gets washed and the heel gets washed, and that's it. But let me tell you, when these wash and they get caught on something, I'm pulling it apart. Sometimes you get them like this. I'm steady pulling, or they're out. And then you see the rings inside the barrel of the washing machine where they came off completely. Depends on how your washer washes to let you know if those socks are going to stay together. Now I'm going to take it out of this round one and put it in the square sock sorter. Here I put them back together, toe box to toe box, and I pick up the square one. This one gives you more room. I stick them in there, pulling the sock sorter down. This one is looser, so it will eventually pull the socks out. Now, it's okay for one pair to come out, but if you have 5 or 6 pairs and you have to match them back up, it's not going to match. Now, unless they're all identical. But even identical is not good enough, because I have found that some of the toe box areas, one may be plusher than the other one, or up here in the leg part, the calf, that part, one could be thinner than the other, and you have to go feel each one because each lot is different. Sometimes you may have a gray line in the heel area. I'm just talking about athletic socks. The square ones are too big for dress socks, not unless you have the winter boot kind. Or it gets a little tricky like that. You're better off just putting them in a garment bag and washing them that way. I've given you some options, and you can pick your poison whichever way you want to go. The choice is yours. But that has been my experience with these sock sorters. Next item is puffy paints. I cut it in half so it can fit in the container I have for it. This is a pack of 20 paints. They come in all different colors. This has a metallic series in it and just your typical colors. I've had them a long time. They have not dried out because I keep them in a sealed container. They're very soft still. A lot of them are not opened. I've used the white. I think I've used the black. I think I've used the gold. I'm not sure. But I have used some of them. I'll open my baggie. I store them in that. And I even put little Braille on them so I know the colors. But I'm not going to read them. This is not a Braille lesson. I just want to show you they come in a little bottle with a nozzle. And you can just open that and cut it. And then you can just squeeze it out. I'm turning it upside down, making believe I'm squeezing it in my hand. This is new. It's not open. And you can put some in there, and then you just let it dry, and it puffs up. And it makes like a bump dot. And it can stick better than the bump dot. I like to use these. I think this is the fabric one, because you can put it on your clothes too. So you can make markings on your outfits that match. That's another way you can use if you want to keep your items together. put this back in the bag and I'll hold it up so you can see all the different paints. Let me stick it straight up. And you can see all the different colors in the baggie. I'm gonna turn it around. And then the other side has the other. So it's 10 in this bag, 10 in the other for 20. I've seen 48 count, 48 bottles of paint. I like to get different colors because I didn't know what I would be putting them on. I figured 20 was enough for me, and it was. I couldn't even get it in the container. So then I had a sighted person cut it in half for me because I wanted it even. I could do it myself, but since I wanted it even, I got someone with eyesight to do it for me. That's puffy paint, and I will show you a little bit of my craft work here. This is a timer. I rigged it so it can stay on the wall. Everybody uses it. And this is the first time using the paint. It's not a wide, puffy, but you can feel it, and they are hard. This was a little experiment, putting the markings on the clock. My timer is plastic, white in color, and we used white puffy paint in 5-minute increments. You can take your arrow, spin it around, put it to the time you want, and then let it click away. When it gets to the time that you set, it will ring. The way the clock face is, the numbers are raised so you can feel them. But I don't want to read from that. I want to be able to see them to make sure if I need 5 minutes, I do 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, not 8 minutes or whatever. This way I know this is 5, 10, 15, 20 because it's in 5-minute increments. And then I can make sure the point of this 3D arrow actually matches the dots that are set next to where they should be. 5 minutes, we have a puff paint dot. 10 minutes, another one. 15, another one. 20, 25, 30. And that's how you can do that. And I did get sighted help because there is no way for me to mark it unless I want to feel the numbers and do it that way. I don't want to count like that. And I was surprised when I got the clock because it came from an independent living store for the blind. So I was shocked that there was no Braille or no markings. And that's where the puff paint comes in, because you can make surfaces that are not blind friendly, actually blind friendly. For the puffy paint, you can also put this on buttons, knobs, levers, just as the bump dots. You have quite a few options there for products you would like to use. Just as this clock was modified to include tactile dots. You can do that with any of the puff paints. And you can make them wide or small as you want. We don't stay inside, so we are going to step outside. My method of choice are wind chimes. I have a lot of them. I collect them. I'll start with these little guys here. I like to stick these on doorknobs. It lets me know when people are coming in and out. So I like to stick them there. I've always loved wind chimes. And my spouse is a musician, and I played a couple of instruments myself. These are my professional chimes that musicians use. I will not sit these outside. But I love chimes, so I got these. And these are what goes in the box that the drummers sit in. They have all different percussion instruments in there. And you'll find a lot of the drummers may have chimes like this. And I love the way they sound in the summertime. I just put them up in the window, and when the breeze blows, you could just hear all different kinds of sounds. So I like the sound of these. And then I put them away when I have to shut the windows. And then I have big chimes that go gong, gong, and I have those outside. And I like them too. Now, why am I showing you wind chimes? They are a great warning system for the blind, in my opinion. I have all different kinds of wind chimes that have patinas. They've turned green and all different kinds of colors for being out in the weather. And what I like to do is stick them near hazards. We have some parts of the property that slope down. We have some drop-offs where you can jump down them, but if you are not expecting them or you've never been down them, they could probably scare you, maybe frighten you, have you break your leg. If an animal's running after you, you could get hurt. Even the animals have gotten hurt. What I like to do is put the chimes near the area. So as you are walking, you can hear them and you'll know, okay, I'm coming up to a drop-off. And that's a way people who are blind or visually impaired, low vision, or anyone with a vision impairment can have a warning when their landscape is going to change. We have some parts where there's a steep hill. You can put a chime there. And they have the poles in the garden centers, and they come in different heights. So you can get short ones, you can get very tall ones, and they have like a shepherd's hook. And you can stick your chime there, maybe wrap it around the hook a little bit so the wind can't knock it off, and then you can hear it. Now the big ones that we have them hanging off the house, and they stick out far because they're big. They're almost as tall as I am. And the pipes on it, they're not like these little guys. Those things have pipes. They're nothing like these. These are skinny or slim like pencils. The pipes, I can probably stick my arm in some of them, and you can hear them because the neighbors have told me so. But anyway, they're good for scaring animals, the little owls that you get in maybe from a garden center, and they sit there and their heads bobble and stuff. Those animals walk right past them and keep it moving. They don't even pay those things any mind. One animal even knocked it over. We found him laying on the ground one day with footprints around him. So they don't even pay that any mind. But those wind chimes, when the storm's coming, it lets you know. There are all kinds of warnings. So I was like, that's a great idea for blind people. When I became blind, I chose to use my wind chimes. I decided to break them up and use them around the yard and the land where there could be potential hazards. And I was thinking I'll share that so anyone may want to do that as well. They have to make enough noise to be useful. I could put some in the driveway. I put them at steps. We have some steps in the yard that are very steep, and you will definitely get hurt if you fall down those. We have hills and gullies and all kinds of things in the landscape. You want to have one by the pond because you can fall into that, and I don't know what's in that. Could be snakes, could be anything. In the country, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. You could be walking and maybe disturb a nest of some kind, like a snake pit or whatever. You can just run into anything, so I like to have little warnings. There was a snake that used to hang out and eat the mice that he would find running around in the yard. If they came close to the house, he would just grab them. And he used to bask in the sun and watch the contractors. And if he saw a little field mouse go by, he'd just go get it. And it was kind of interesting to watch him because he was very long. He would roll his tail up and just rest his head on one of the steps. So he didn't like the chimes. That would scare him, and he would just slither away. But if he was out there watching the guys work and with their ladders and things, he would not get in their way. He'd just sit on a rock in the sun, curled up, and then he would have his head laying down a couple of steps down on the ground so he can catch whatever ran by him. I don't know what he was eating, but once in a while you look at him and there's this big lump in his body, and he got bigger and bigger and bigger. And one day a eagle decided to stop by and took him away, and that was the last we saw of him or her, whatever it was. I like the wind chimes. They work better than the garden stuff that the stores are trying to sell you. There's nothing more natural than that. As a blind person, you can't look up at the clouds and see they're turning black or stormy. So you can hear by the chimes letting you know that a storm is brewing because of the way the wind keeps blowing. And there's just different things that you can tell what the weather is doing with wind chimes. That's in my opinion. Now, I don't know if that works for everyone because I used to study the weather when I could see. I've given you, I think, at least 8+ options to see what will work for you. That's what I got started with. What I would recommend is you just take everything people tell you with a grain of salt. Even me. I'm just telling you what I started out with. I was asked that question, so I'm trying to think of everything I've been asked. What I would recommend is listen to yourself, listen to your needs, what works for you. I also kept notes. I made little notes in my phone, in the Notes app. And I wrote everything I wanted in a system. How I wanted to be able to do my clothes and things like that. I have been working on my organization since I have become blind. If you are trying to get a system for yourself, don't worry, it does take time. You will not get it overnight. And like I tell everyone, my system is a forever changing system. As times change, your needs change, you will change your organization system. But it's better to be organized so you know where things are, because organization ensues confidence. It's better to keep it together than not keeping it at all. A place for everything and everything in its place. If you remember those, you'll be fine. Once you get yourself organized, then as you brainstorm to solve one hurdle, I'm not going to call them problems because they're hurdles, you get over them. Once you tackle one hurdle, then others will follow and you'll be able to get to them. If you like informational videos, enjoy lighthearted humor, and would like to join the channel, by all means subscribe. Make sure you set your notifications to all so you'll be notified each time new content becomes available. And I'll catch you in the next one.
Scene changes to a mountain scene backdrop. Rolling credits appear in big bold text scrolling upward from the bottom of the screen. Text reads, Anita, hostess/visionary. Mountain stream video, TM symbol, videographer/editor. The rest of the text may be read in the description box below. Thanks for watching.